my classes. Haven't done it in a while. Okay. So I had a request for this class, and the request essentially was preparing for prospecting. And preparing for prospecting, such as, where do I get the data? What data should I use? What dialers do I use? What morning routine should I have? When should I be prospecting? How should I be prospecting? Who should I be prospecting? All these things, right? Just to kind of, how do I just get even started with prospecting? So, show of hands or one in the chat box. Anyone ever had that moment where you were supposed to be prospecting, but you're not even sure where to get started? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I've got, a lot of you raising your hand and putting one in the chat box. The rest of you are either lying or not paying attention. Just good to get a feel for the audience. All right. All right. Good job. We've all been in that moment. Every single one of us. It's okay. Right? It's okay. So hopefully out of today, I break down a few different things for you that can make things a little bit easier, or at least give you some sort of idea on what to do to get started and all that fun stuff. If you have questions that pop up, just unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till the end, because I might forget, or I might be in the zone where I might be able to answer that question. So just unmute yourself and put it in the chat box as we go through this stuff. All right, so let's start here. There's no particular order I'm going through this, but let's just go through it. So we're going to start with phone prospecting. We're going to start with phone prospecting. And question is, okay, well, I want to prospect on the phone. Where can I get some phone numbers? Now, let's have a little pop quiz. Where do you think are the best phone numbers that give you the best chance at a deal? Where do you think those phone numbers are?
The
Database.
smartphone.
Wow. A plus. A plus. Mariana was all over it, man. She types fast. Your phone, okay? Your phone is without a doubt the best source for phone numbers, okay? So I just want to start there. Without a doubt, the best source for phone numbers is your phone. Okay, so don't worry about getting phone numbers until you've exhausted the phone numbers that are in your phone. Okay, because we tend to go, oh, well, this person I know is not going to buy a house. They're not ready for that. Doesn't mean they don't know somebody that's not ready to buy or sell a house. Okay, and plus, do you really think you know everyone's financial situation in your phone? Everybody say no, right?
No.
That person is never going to buy. They're broke. They don't have any money whatsoever. And then all of a sudden you're like, where did you get all this money from? It's like, I just had it. Okay. You never know people's financial situation. I had a lady one time who I was I was doing a deal for her. Well, she came to me. She wanted to do a deal, and she was showing me like how much she made, and I was like, I worked, the Beverly Hills, West LA area. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this lady, right? And all of a sudden, she starts talking about all these properties that she owns, and I'm like, wait, what? And this lady owned like 9 or 10 properties. I mean, if you saw her income, you're like, how is this possible? Well, all she did for years and years was just save up a little bit of money and then buy a house with whatever minimum down she could and rent it out. A little bit of money. Now, she did this years ago when houses were $60,000, $70,000. Well, all of a sudden now it was 2007 or whatever. Lady had like 10 houses. They were way, way more worth than what she had gotten. She's collecting rent on them. So she's got all this investment money coming in. I was like, oh my gosh. But I totally judged her from the beginning. I was like, she doesn't have any money. Right? You just never know. So your phone is always the best. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Robert, I got my phone. Where do I start on my phone? All right, here's what I want you to do. The next time you prospect, I want you to open up your cell phone and go to the letter S. Go to the letter S and start dialing the letter S. Now, Why do you think I'm telling you to dial the letter S first?
Because it's the beginning of start.
The beginning of start, sure. Desmona saying, I'm guessing that means you have a lot of S's. Okay, yeah. It's not what I'm looking for, but you're both right. I say start with S because we always start with A and we never get down to the bottom of the alphabet. So poor Xavier never hears from you. And then Zane doesn't even know you're alive. Okay. He doesn't even know. Okay. But Aaron Abraham gets called from you all the time, right? So just S is just an arbitrary number. Just pick a number at the bottom of the alphabet, start dialing, right? But it's always in your phone. That's the best. So now outside of your phone, where are some places you can get some phone numbers? Okay, so I broke it down in two tiers. There's basic numbers and premier numbers. So your basic numbers are numbers that have relatively about a 30 to 35% accuracy rate. Okay. Now they're cheaper, which is why people get them. Okay. But the lower accuracy rate. Now, where can you get basic numbers from? I wrote down here a couple things, and I'm going to share some links in the chat box. So you can get those from Title. So your title company can get you some numbers. And here, I'm going to post in the chat box. If you need a title rep, I just posted a link in the, or a document in the chat box. We're going to partner with WFG Title, and here's a list of all the title reps that they have in the areas. You don't have to use them, but just if you don't have one, you can get them from Title. You can get them from some third-party services like Arch Agent. Okay, I'm going to put Arch in the chat box. Right? You can get it from a place like Arch Agent. You can get it from a place like RedX. These are places you can get some basic phone numbers from. Okay. You can get it from Vulcan 7. All right. So those are probably the four most popular. I'm sure there's other places you get phone numbers. Four most popular places you get basic phone numbers: Title Reps, Arch Agent, RedX, Vulcan 7. Okay. Okay. So there you go. Again, 30 to 35% accuracy rate. You pay for the numbers. Even if you get them through Title, typically you have to pay for it every so often. Maybe they'll do something special where they'll give you some numbers to start out with. But usually you have to pay for those because they have to pay for them. And that's what you get. All those four, the Title Reps and those three companies, all scrub them against the do not call list. So you don't have to worry about that. Be very careful when you get phone numbers. If you don't go through one of those companies, that they are scrubbed against the do not call list. Okay. You don't want to get those fines. All right. So that's your basic numbers. So now we go to premier numbers. So what a premier number is a company that takes the basic numbers, does a little bit more digging to figure out a more accurate phone number, and potentially even some cell phone numbers in there as well. That would be Arch Agent. So if you want the premier numbers, you go to Arch Agent. Their link is also, they're one of the companies with the basic numbers too. They have what's called premier numbers. The premier numbers have about a 75 to 80% accuracy rate. Okay. So again, if you're going basic numbers, it's cheaper numbers, but you have a 30, 35% accuracy rate. If you want to pay a little bit extra for premier numbers, so you're getting a 75 to 80% accuracy rate, you would go with Arch Agent on those ones. Okay. That's if you want some premier numbers. Now, if it was up to me, that PDF, you should be able to scroll down. It should be like 3 or 4 pages on that PDF, Amanda, that show all the offices. Now, if it were up to me, I would get the premier numbers. I would pay a little bit extra to get the premier numbers because I don't like the frustration of a bunch of disconnected numbers. That's just me. Right. So I would pay a little bit extra to get the premier numbers, but everyone's on a different budget and a different patience level. I'm relatively impatient. So I'm going to get the premier numbers so I have less of those disconnections. But that's where you can get some phone numbers at on those particular sources. All right. So there's phone numbers. Now I've got some phone numbers. So now I got to dial those phone numbers. So I've got a couple options. I can hand dial, right? I could do that. That's option number one. or I can subscribe to a dialer. What a dialer is, hold on, let me put that on silent. What a dialer is you take the phone numbers that you got, wherever you got them from, and you upload them into the dialer. Whatever dialer you get, they will help you do this. So don't worry about how to do that yet. Whatever dialer you get, they'll help you upload these phone numbers, and it dials for you. Okay, now you can do 1, 2, 3-line dialers. As of right now, there's no laws against it. There probably will be at some point some more laws against multi-line dialers. They tried to pass it. It was supposed to begin January of this year, but they ended up waiving that, and they're going to reconvene at the end of this year to see if they want to implement it. But you could do 1, 2, or 3-line dialers. And so the reason you would want to do a dialer is the speed, right? So instead of dialing 909-210-3344, ring, 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 blah, 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 hang up, dial again, the dialer's just ringing until somebody picks up, okay? Again, you pay for that, so it's another expense, but you can look at that. So you can either hand dial or you can go into the dialers. So from a dialer standpoint, there's 4 main dialers. Okay, 4 main dialers that most people use. There's a ton of them, but there's 4 main dialers. So I just posted the same companies that you can get phone numbers from, Arch Agent, RedX, and Vulcan. You can use dialers, but then there's also Mojo is another dialer. Whoa, that is a long link, Mojo. Let's try something better. That works. Mojo is another dialer. So there's 4 main dialers, okay? Arch Agent has a dialer, RedX has a dialer, Vulcan 7 has a dialer, and then Mojo is another dialer system, okay? Now, you'll notice that Arch Agent, RedX, and Vulcan were also on the list of where you can get phone numbers. You can mix and match whatever you want. So you can get phone numbers from one place and import them into a different dialer. So meaning that, let's say you want the premier numbers from Arch Agent, but you hate Arch Agent's dialer, you love the Mojo dialer, you can get phone numbers only from Arch Agent and then upload them into the Mojo dialer. Okay, everybody with me on this? So, and anywhere in between that. So now you've got some dialers that you can do and work off of. Now, what I would recommend you do if you're interested in any of these companies of getting phone numbers or dialers, most of them will offer maybe a 1 or 2-day trial. So I would reach out to them if you're interested before you pay for any of this stuff, is reach out to them and say, excuse me, reach out to them and say, I'd like to maybe give it a trial run to see how it works. So that way you're making sure you're picking the right dialer for you, right system for you, so on and so forth. Also, you want to see what package you want to go for in terms of pay, because some of them you could just get the dialer, some of them you can get phone numbers, or some of them you can get very specific phone numbers like expireds, for sale by owners, for rent by owners, like all these different things. There's certain packages that you can get. So they'll go walk through all that with you. All right. Questions on phone numbers and dialers before I move on to the next portion of this? All right, pretty basic stuff so far. So now the question comes into, well, we use Follow Up Boss a lot as a company, and you get Follow Up Boss at no cost for the company. So do any of these integrate into Follow Up Boss? The answer is yes. So the one that integrates into Follow Up Boss the best is Mojo. Mojo, the dialer. So if you upload numbers into Mojo and sync Mojo into Follow Up Boss, the contacts will go into Follow Up Boss. The notes from those contacts that you make on the Mojo will go into Follow Up Boss. Mojo integrates with Follow Up Boss the best. Arch Agent also integrates with Follow Up Boss, although not as good as Mojo. Okay, so you could do it, but it's not as good. So if you're looking for something of, okay, I want to get like a one size fits all where I want to get the phone numbers, the dialer, I want to integrate it into Follow Up Boss so I don't have to do the same thing twice. Mojo and Arch Agent would be your best options in terms of integrating Follow Up Boss, with Mojo being the best in terms of that. So if you're trying to integrate into Follow Up Boss, that would be the deal. Now, since I'm talking about Follow Up Boss, if you need help setting up Follow Up Boss, or you have questions on how to maximize Follow Up Boss or integrate these things into Follow Up Boss, I just posted a link in the chat box. That is to Valeria's calendar. So Valeria and Hunter work together in terms of our Follow Up Boss team. Okay, it's free to utilize their services in terms of getting help with Follow Up Boss. So I don't know why people wouldn't take advantage of that. But there's a link in there. You go to her calendar, set up a day and time that works for you. And again, if you haven't been set up on Follow Up Boss, they can get you set up. If you need to upload contacts, they can help you do that. If you just need a walkthrough to see how this all works, they can do all that for you as well. Okay, but if you're trying to integrate in a Follow Up Boss, it would have to be Mojo or Arch Agent. All right. So now you've got the phone numbers, you've got the dialer, you've integrated into Follow Up Boss. So now, before I make the calls, though, I need some data. I need some data. Where can I get some data? Okay, so I've got a couple places for you to get some data. So one, I wrote down in no particular order of importance or best, but you can go to your title reps and get data. And what they can do is set you up on something called Title Toolbox. I'm going to share my screen. So they have something called Title Toolbox. And if you go to Title Toolbox, there's all kinds of, I'm not going to do a class on this. It's a class in and of itself, but you can search statistics for certain areas. You could like get some farming information, things along those lines. There's a lot of different stuff you could get through Title Toolbox. So like, for example, let's just say, for example, I'm just going to do Agora Hills because I just want to take some time, and you can edit this as much as you want. If I hit search, there's some stats that are going to come up on here. So anyways, but you could do things, you could find like turnover rates, average sales price, non-over percentages, all kinds of other different things that you can find in here that can help you get stats. So when you're calling, you kind of have some information that you can utilize and things along those lines. So as you can see, it takes a little bit of time to load up. So maybe when it, so here you go. So look, this is based on carrier route. So like if you wanted to know the turnover rate for an area, so if you were actually trying to figure out, one of the things I was going to talk about later is door knocking. If you were trying to figure out a turnover rate, you could go, this is based on carrier route in Agora Hills. So you can see what the turnover rate on some of these carrier routes are. You can see them. Carrier routes are like the Postal Service. So you can find turnover rate based on city, based on carrier route, all kinds of zip codes, all kinds of different things. So it shows how many homes, how many sales, average price, average year owned, all those different things. So Title Toolbox is where you can get things like turnover rate, average year owned, stuff along those lines. I'll go over that a little bit later as to where you can benefit you. But Title Toolbox can certainly help. Another area that you can get some stats is InfoSparks. Okay. Is everybody here familiar with InfoSparks? Put a 1 in the chat box or raise your hand if you're familiar with InfoSparks. All right. A few of you, not enough of you. All right. So InfoSparks, right, is a great place for stats. So when you're making some calls, right? So like, again, you can search by city, county, and you can get some stats. So if somebody give me a city, I'm in the InfoSparks. That would have to be Central Coast South. There's also one Northern California. I'm just not logged into that one right now. Somebody give me a city, Central Coast South. Southern California.
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara. You got it. So like, let's say that you needed stats for the city of Santa Barbara. You could see here how many new listings, right? So right here last month, there were 28 new listings in Santa Barbara. There were 21 closed sales. What's the average sales price in Santa Barbara? Almost $4 million. Okay. Average days on market, 95. Right? So there's some stats that you can use. So that way, if you're doing some prospecting, you got the phone numbers, you got the dialer, and it's like, hey, I'm reaching out to people in Santa Barbara. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but last month there were 28 new listings taken in the city of Santa Barbara. Did you know that? Yeah, no. So there's still people actively listing their homes, and there were 21 homes closed, which was up 133% compared to this time last year. So there's still some activity in the area. Who do you know that might be thinking about buying or selling a house? Right? So you can use stats to make some calls, door knocking, whatever the case may be. So again, we're talking about, you got the phone numbers, you got the dialer. Where do I get some market data from? I showed you Title Toolbox. You can go to InfoSparks. You can also just go to the MLS in general, right? You can go to the matrix and look at how many things have closed, expired, all those fun things, right? But for data, I would go to your title companies. I would go to InfoSparks. I would go to the MLS. Okay, all that stuff. Now, in terms of going back to data, one more aspect of data I want everyone to write down: predictive analytics. Predictive analytics. And where you can get predictive analytics are through the same places that you can get your phone numbers from, which is your title companies, Arch Agent, Vulcan 7, and Red-X. Okay, predictive analytics you can get through title, Arch Agent, Vulcan 7, and Red-X. Now you have to tell them what it is you need. So here's what predictive analytics is, and this is data you can get for your prospecting. Have you ever been to an expo or gotten an email or anything from a company who tells real estate agents, we know who the most likely sellers are in your area? Anyone ever seen these companies? Okay, heard of these companies, had them reach out to you, so on and so forth. Okay, well, I always thought, well, how do you know that? Right? How do you know who the sellers are? Well, don't worry. You don't have to try to figure it out. I already did it. Okay. So don't worry about it. Right. So here's how they figure that stuff out. And it does make sense when you think about it. They have things called predictive analytics, and there's 3 areas of predictive analytics that you can get. And again, you can use title, Arch Agent, Vulcan 7, or Red-X. You tell them that this is what you need, and all 4 of those different sources can get you this information. Predictive analytic number 1, 2-story homes bought 20 or more years ago. That's predictive analytic number 1. If you're in an area that does not have a lot of 2-story homes, then they go off of 2,300 square feet or bigger. So you could go off 2,300 square feet or 2 stories bought 20 or more years ago. Here's the general concept as to why those people might be potential sellers. So typically someone who buys a larger house, not everybody, but on average, if someone buys a 2-story home or a 2,500 square foot home, is it usually their first home?
No.
No, usually not. Okay. Which means that they're more likely to be 40s, 50s, 60s when they bought it. Okay. So now you fast forward 20 years, that person is now in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. If they had kids, kids are probably gone. So they don't need the size of this house anymore. Now, I don't know where everyone else here lives, but are utility costs going down where any of you live? No.
No.
Oh, so it's not just Porter Ranch. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Utility costs are going up. Taxes going up. Boy, homeowners insurance. Woo, baby. Going up. Okay. So the cost of the house is now increased. As people get older and get more into retirement age, again, average, not always, but average person, their income either stays the same or goes down. So the cost of the house is higher, but their income is equal to or lower. So financially, there's a lot of reasons to get rid of this house. And if they have not done a bunch of cash out refis, the house is either paid off or close to, and they bought the house for $250,000. It's now worth $1,250,000. So they got all kinds of equity. And lastly, as you get older in life, what would you love to avoid in your house?
Going upstairs or cleaning.
Stairs, right? So there's all these factors come into play. So you predictive analytic number one for the companies that give you data and say, I want a list of all the two-story homes bought 20 or more years ago in my area or 2,300 square foot or bigger. Okay. And we have scripts for reaching out to those people, right? So we have those as well. Don't worry about it. All right. But that's predictive analytic number one. Predictive analytic number two is pretty much the exact opposite. It's it's 1 and 2 bedroom condos. 1 and 2 bedroom condos. Because now let's think about this. Somebody who buys a 1 and 2 bedroom condo, again, typically average, is that likely their first house?
Yes.
Average is yes, right? That's their I got into home ownership. That was my first house. Okay, that was my introductory into home ownership was a 2 bedroom condo. Okay. So now you're looking for that, and they've owned it for 4 or more years. The reason 4 or more is they need to have had a little bit of time to gain a little bit of equity in the house. Okay. Because ultimately what they're trying to do is sell that house, take whatever equity they've built and whatever small amount they've paid down the mortgage to use that money for the down payment of a single family residence. Okay. Because now you think it's a 1 or 2 bedroom condo, which means that maybe they're just ready for a single family residence. Maybe the family has grown. There's a spouse or there's kids or more kids and they just need to get out. Or, despite the fact that more people are working from the office, there is still a lot of companies that allow people to work from home, even if it's half the week. Well, depending on how thin the walls are, some of these condos are not great for working from home. You know what I mean? So they might just need to get out anyway. So you want to find those people, go to those predictive analytics people and say, I want 1 and 2 bedroom condos bought 4 more years ago. And again, we have scripts for that. Don't worry about it. All right. And then the third predictive analytic is finding out the average time somebody stays in a house in the area. And let's say it's 15 years. You get a list of all the people that have been in their homes a couple years from a couple years prior to a couple years later. So let's say the average turnover time is 15 years. You tell whoever you get the data from, I want everyone who's lived in their house from 12 to 17 years, because there's a good chance they might be that person who's looking to sell. So for example, right, if I go back to this title toolbox that I pulled up earlier, right? I should have done this by city or zip code, but whatever. So this again is by carrier route. So let's say I want to work this carrier route. Well, it says average year owned 16 and a half. So I want to find all the homes in this carrier route that people have lived there for, say, 12, 13 to 18 years, somewhere in that 14 to 18, 14 to 19 years, somewhere in that range. Because I want to reach out to them and I would have a fun conversation with it, right? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, I see that you've lived in your house for 15 years. Is that correct? Yeah, about right. Well, did you know that the average home in this area sells every 16 years? So are you thinking about selling your house in the next year? Right? You can have some fun with it. But anyways, so those are your 3 predictive analytics. So when you're looking at data, again, this is all under the data category, right? If you want market stats, you can go to like the MLS, you can go to InfoSparks. If you want other stats, you can go to your title reps. If you want predictive analytics, you could go to places like Title, Arch Agent, Vulcan 7, RedX, things along those lines, right? For market data.
Robert,
Yes, go.
this is Desmona. The title toolbox, I just noticed that the platform is the same. I subscribe to something called Rebo Gateway, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like the same layout, the same platform, the same icons, the same everything. Are they in
Yeah.
related to each other or?
Probably the same
Oh, okay.
information. Yeah.
Just
Pro-
just okay.
But you might want to check with your title reps because maybe it's similar, maybe it's different. Maybe Rebo Gateway is even better. I have no idea. It might be the same information, but you might be able to get one for no cost and save you a few bucks. But if Rebo Gateway is better, then yeah, stick with that. But it's
right, thank
probably
you.
very similar information. Yep.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, so that's data. All right, so now we've covered getting phone numbers, we've covered dialers, follow-up box integration. Now you've got the data to go do all these wonderful things. All right, we're almost ready to really hit the ground running, but I need some marketing material. I need some marketing material. Well, that's pretty basic, right? I'm going to put the link in the chat box just in case you don't know, but you can go to our marketing team and we have a team that can create flyers and information for you at no cost, right? You just got to print them. So if it's flyers, print them at the office. If it's postcards, stuff like that, you got to go to a print shop. But I posted a link to our marketing team to request a marketing information. So if you need some flyers, you want something creative for you, they'll do all that for you. Okay, so saving you some money on that one since you've paid for phone numbers and stuff at this point. All right, good stuff. Okay, so now we get into, okay. All right, Robert, I'm ready to go. I've got my marketing material. I've got all this other stuff. How about prospecting order? I'm ready to prospect. Who should I prospect first? What should be my method of going about things? Now, everyone is going to be different in terms of now they're ready to prospect. Who should they prospect first? I'm going to give you mine. You can take it. You can hate it, whatever you want. I'm just going to give you mine. So prospecting order. What if I was to start my prospecting day, the first calls I would make would be my leads. I want to call my best leads first. The second people I want to call is my database, my past clients and centers of influence. Now, if you've been to a lot of real estate seminars, what source do they tend to tell you to prospect first thing in the morning?
SOI.
That's a good seminar. What other prospecting source do a
Expired.
lot of expired? Oh, and now you're going, Robert, why didn't you say expired? All right, I'm going to give you the method to my madness on this one. So if you are a morning prospector type person, okay, morning prospector, and I don't care when you prospect. Some people prospect morning, afternoon. I don't care. If you're a morning prospector, when do you typically have the most amount of energy, focus, determination? When are you at your highest peak?
In the morning.
In the morning, right when you're about to prospect, right? Because as prospecting goes on, you kind of get a little beat up. No, I'm not interested. I don't know anyone. So as the prospecting goes on, right? You know, if you ever saw the movie Rocky, the first round, you know, him and Apollo, but by round 12, they can't stand. They're struggling. Okay. So that's kind of prospecting. Well, I want to call my money makers when I'm at my highest level of focus and determination. I want my money makers to get my best call. And my money makers are my leads because my leads are my next chance at an appointment. And then my best source is my past clients and centers of influence. So I want those people to get my best call. And that's why I'm prospecting them first. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And then I don't want to waste my best call on an expired because chances are I'm not going to get that deal. And it's not a you thing. If you look through all of our records as a company, we have some of the best phone prospectors in the business. And at best, maybe they close a couple expireds a year. And they're like the best at what they do. Do you know how hard it is for a home to expire in California? I get it. The market's changed this year, but it's still California. To not get your home sold is hard. You have to be unmotivated, just flat out unmotivated. And then we go, oh, but they raised their hand. No, they didn't. They raised their hand that said, if I could get my price, I'll sell it. This ain't the market for that. Okay. So I would call my money makers first, my leads, my database. After that, whatever, dealer's choice. You want to go expired, go expired. You want to go just listed, just sold, absentee owners, for rent by owners, for sale by owners, probates, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But I would start with my leads and my database. I want them to get my best calls. Why would I give my best source of business my worst call? Why would I give my best, my most energy, my most focus to an expired, and then after I got my ass beat by expired for a while, then call my leads who are my best chance to deal, and I'm going, hey, how you doing? Like, makes no sense to me. But everybody's different. So that would be the prospecting order that I would go off of. All right. Now, when do I prospect? Okay. Because if I prospect in the morning, people might be going to work. But if I prospect in the afternoon, I might be bothering them for dinner. But maybe I'll get more people at home. I don't know. When's the best time to prospect? Okay. Let's see who can figure out what do you think my answer is going to be. The best time to prospect is blank. Anyone want to guess what my answer is?
Anytime you want to.
Whenever you're going to do it.
When you can.
Whenever you're going to do it. Okay. Trust me, if I've had this question for many years. And as you could see, I'm pretty good with data and pretty good at research and things like that. I've got no data, no research, nothing to support that this time is the best time to prospect. We have agents that start, here's what I know. It's between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. That's what's legal. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You call before 8 a.m. and you get busted, I'm not defending you. You call after 8 p.m. and you get busted, I'm not defending you. Okay, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But we have people that call starting at 8 a.m. They'll do a couple hours and they'll get 8, 9, 10 contacts an hour, even though we think people are at work. And we have some people that prospect in the afternoons and they'll like whatever time you feel comfortable doing it, just doing it. But don't worry about what's the right time. We have no idea. Just go do it. All right. I wish I had the data for you, but I don't. Okay. So now we're talking now a couple last things here. Door knocking. We talked about phones. Now door knocking. Where should I go? Who should I door knock? All these other things. Okay, so here's 3 things I pointed out for door knocking. Pick an area that you want to work. So if you're going to go door knocking, pick an area that you want to work. Well, you could go door knocking around your listings or closings or whatever, right? But other than that, if you're just going to do some normal door knocking, pick an area that you want to work. Pick a neighborhood, pick a city, pick something that you want to work and go there, right? Start manifesting deals in areas that you want to work. So go door knock there. Ideally, pick an area with at least a 4% turnover rate. Okay? Ideally, at least a 4% turnover rate. The reason I say 4% is because more likely, when I started in the business, they would say, oh, you want an 8 or 9% turnover rate. Well, that was when, people sold their homes quicker. Now people stay in their homes longer. So if you're looking for an 8 or 9%, that's really tough. I mean, going back to this sheet here, you could see turnover rates 5.3, 5.2, 4.3, 3.6. Like if you can get 4% or better on a turnover rate, I would say that's probably pretty good. Right? So ideally try to find a door knocking area where the turnover rate's maybe 4%. If you find it 8 or 9%, hang on. Right? But
Robert,
4%.
I have another question regarding
Go
the
ahead.
door knocking. I'm kind of, I'm from the Berkeley office, new to Central 21. Is
Yeah.
there a way to find, because I want to prospect around my fellow Century 21 listings,
Yeah.
right? Is there a way to find that, just that information if I, in my area in the Bay?
Yeah, I mean, we have a website that shows all of our listings, but it's currently being updated. And so, because the problem is, if you go to the MLS, we belong to so many boards that you'd have to type in a bunch of MLS codes to find all of our
Right.
listings.
Tried that.
So yeah, it's tough. So we do have a website that has all of our listings, but it's just being updated. That'll probably be finished and up and running again, hopefully by next week. Where you'll
Okay.
be able to see all the company listings and it'll be automated with the MLS, so to be updated immediately. That was the problem we had. Is we had a website with all of our listings, but it wasn't synced correctly to where some of them would show pending in the MLS, and then it would be like a week before it showed pending on the website. And then it was just like, well, if we're not going to get it right, then we might as well not do it. So to be continued on that one.
Okay.
So the best thing you could try to do is just send like a message on Telegram or something, see if there's any listings in the area, reach out to some of the agents in the office, see if they have any listings, things like that.
Yeah, I've been communicating with some of the other offices, which we have a lot around here. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing, but I just wasn't sure if there was another way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that'll be up and running in about a week or so, and as soon as it is, we'll make sure to send the information out.
Actually, in our MLS, there is a way of finding out.
Find out all the masters listings?
Yes, or you go and then there's a feature where you go and find out listings, zip code or area, and then the listings will come up, and then you can press on top, look for broker name, listing broker name, something like that. And then
I'll try it again then.
broker name will come up, and then you can see.
So will I.
All
right.
I'll try it again.
All right, good. So door knocking, pick an area you want to work, ideally at least a 4% turnover rate. Last thing I wrote down for door knocking, you don't need a flyer. If you have a flyer, great, but you don't need one. As long as you have a business card, go. The reason I say that is because this, again, we're preparing ourselves for prospecting, and we are salespeople, which means we will come up with every reason not to prospect. Okay. So so when I say, and I'm not making fun of anybody, because again, okay, present company included. Okay, I'm with you here. We're in this together. We'll come up with every reason. So if we're like, oh, I want to go door knocking, Robert, but oh my gosh, I don't have my flyer. Well, then I can't go door knocking today. I got to go get my flyer ready. Oh my God, the printer's jammed. It's low on orange ink, and that's my favorite color. And it's just, oh my gosh, right? So we get all caught up in this. So when it comes to door knocking, pick an area that you like, right? Get it 4%. Turnover rate, get your business cards. If you happen to have a flyer, great. If you don't, grab your business cards and hit the road. David says, business cards and running shoes. All right. Just hit the road. You got your business cards, you're good. Again, if you have a flyer, great. Big fan of flyers, but you don't need one to go. Don't let that be the reason you don't do it. All right. Good stuff. Okay, I'm just going to run through this last part here because I know we're over time. And then if you have any questions or anything, but I just wrote down here, the last thing I'm preparing to prospect is creating a morning routine. Okay, because part of preparing to prospect is just preparing the day. Okay, preparing the day. So a couple of examples on creating a morning routine might be waking up at a certain time every single day, which, by the way, there's no right or wrong answer to that. Okay. Waking up earlier doesn't present you any more opportunities. Okay. Like everyone I get up at 3:00. Everyone goes, oh my gosh, Robert, I want to get up at 3:00. Why? Like it works for me. It doesn't make me any better or give me more advantages. That's just what time for me to get my day started. There's some, no thanks. There's some people that wake up at 5, 6, 7 that are just as productive and maybe even more productive. Like it's just, there's no right or wrong time, by the way. Okay. So, but maybe it's a certain time to wake up every day. Doing some sort of exercise or stretching, right? You don't have to run a marathon, doing some sort of stretching or things like that. Having some sort of nutritious breakfast. Okay. I love huevos rancheros. I'm probably not going to have huevos rancheros before I start my work day. That's probably not going to happen. Okay. That's a weekend meal. Okay. So some sort of breakfast that's not going to weigh you down, right? Having that sort of routine. If you're into meditation or prayer, maybe you include that. Everybody should be reviewing their goals. Everybody should be reviewing their goals as part of their morning routine, maybe in 2 or 3 times. Saying affirmations, right? Should be part of your morning routine. Setting up maybe some accountability partners. whatever that may be. Listening or reading motivational messages could be part of your morning routine. Okay. Or just reading something powerful, something, some of you might be into humor, right? Reading something funny, things like that. Doing some masterminds, okay? Role play, practicing, things along those lines. These are all things that can be part of your morning routine. But if you can incorporate some sort of morning routine that you can be consistent with so that you can be better when you're doing your prospecting. And then a couple things I wrote down to avoid in the morning. Okay. I gave you a list of things for some potential morning routine. Here's some things to avoid: reading the news, watching the news. Okay. Probably not going to get you in a great mindset to prospect. Okay. Talking to your TC, your assistant, or clients about current files, because you will go down a rabbit hole and you will not get to prospecting. Working on your current files. Okay. Checking stocks, things along those lines, right? Try to avoid things like that in the morning. You'll push that stuff off until a few hours later. You want to go into prospecting with every ounce of positivity, every ounce of energy, every ounce of focus that you can. All right, questions on, listen to my motivational breakfast, or my motivational messages. Thank you, Lynn. Good. All right, any questions on anything I went over today? Win the morning, win the day. That's right. I go without breakfast. Now you on your own on that one. I mean, I might not have the huevos rancheros, but I'm gonna eat. I have a smoothie pretty much every day. That's my breakfast. Eggs, and lots of coffee. There you go. There you go. That'll work too. All right. I'm only allowed to have 1 cup of coffee a day, and that's because I'm already a high energy guy. I just happen to like coffee, but if I have more than 1 cup of coffee, I'll legitimately start shaking. All right, good stuff. All right, any other questions? Anything else I can go over that maybe we covered?
Robert, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sometimes when I feel like I'm consistently prospecting, I get that like contactitis. Like I'm just trying to get to that whatever 20 or 30 contacts, right?
Yep.
How do you suggest, like, kind of, what do you do to shift that so you're not so focused on just trying to like get it done with? You know what I'm saying?
Couple things. One, you should never prospect the same source for more than 45 minutes. Okay. So if you're calling just listed, just solds, for example, if you're doing just listed calls, max 45 minutes before you got to switch up the script, switch up who you're contacting. I don't care who you are. You could be Robert Hertel, Tony Robbins, or anyone else that's a high energy person. There's no way you could do, hi, just listed a property over on 123 Main Street. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's listed for $725,000. I'm curious, who do you know that wants to move into the area? There's no way you could do that with high energy for 3 hours. Just no way. Okay. So you got to a minimum of every 45 minutes, switch it up, different script, different person. So that helps out a little bit. So that's one thing. Number 2 is take little breaks, 10-minute breaks. So one of the things we used to do with agents that would run into this is you prospect for 45 minutes and then take a 15-minute break, prospect for 45 minutes, 15-minute break, prospect for another 45 minutes. So in a 3-hour time span, they were actually prospecting for about 2 hours and 15 minutes out of that 3 hours, but it was way more impactful than just prospecting 3 hours straight, because they were able to take those breaks. And so they were more focused and energized. Okay. So they were able to do that. I don't normally like promoting that, because typically that 15-minute break turns into a 3-hour break, right? And then we never get back. But if you can stay disciplined enough to say 15 minutes and then I'm back at it, that's another way that you can remove the contactitis. The third thing you can do to remove the contactitis is get off the number of contacts and focus on the results. So instead of saying, all right, I've got to hit 25 contacts today, it's, I got to get a lead today. And if it takes me 10 contacts to get that lead, great. If it takes me 50, then I'll get the 50. But, maybe you got to switch it up and just focus on a result instead of a number of contacts. So was that helpful? I assume it was yes.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Do you leave a voicemail if they don't answer? Just try later. I leave voicemails. I have no proof that that's a good idea. None. There's some people that don't leave voicemails. They just ring, 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 hang up, ring, 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 hang up. I leave voicemails. Why do I leave voicemails? I guess because I'm I dream of the idea that maybe they'll call me back, even though again they probably won't. But maybe I'm giving myself a chance. The other reason I leave voicemails is at least they might hear my voice. So when I call back again, if they like, oh, this is Robert Hertel, they'll recognize the name because they heard it on the voicemail before. So maybe there's a little kind of warmth to it. Again, I have no proof that that's the case, but that's my mentality. Is I leave messages, and realistically, it's not taking up that much more time. Because if I leave 20 voicemails, let's say it's a minute each voicemail or something shorter, that's an extra 20 minutes. That's really not that much more time out of my day. And if I can get one person to potentially call me back out of a 20 extra minutes of work, I don't know, not a bad gig. But again, that's me. That doesn't make it right or wrong. But yeah, I leave voicemails. When prospecting, what is a true contact? Okay. So everyone might have a different definition of contact. My definition of a contact is, did I get through my opening pitch? So let's say I'm calling expireds and they answer the phone. I say, hey, this is Robert Hertel, Century 21. Look, I'm sure you figured out that your home came up on our computer as an expired listing. I was calling to see, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home? And then they hang up. I'm going to count that as a contact because I got through my pitch. Now, if I say, hey, this is Robert Hertel with Century 21, and they click, I'm not going to count that as a contact because I didn't even get through my opening pitch. That's me. But I've been in enough prospecting clinics where I hear people go, hey, this is so-and-so, and they click, they'll go, well, it's still a contact. So it's for some people, if anyone picks up the phone, it's a contact or answers the door, right? It's the same conversation, answering the door or on the phone. So you make up whatever your definition of a contact is, as long as it's consistent, right? But mine's easy. If I get through my opening pitch, it's a contact. That's my rule. Okay. Now, when it comes to text messages, if I text everybody, is it considered a contact? It depends. Was there a back and forth? So if I just send out a mass text, interest rates are down to 6.25, great time to buy, who do you know? And I send that out and all I get, and someone sends me a thumbs up, like I'm not going to count that as a contact, right? But if they reach back out to me and they say, oh, that's really interesting, what's the market like? Then I'm like, oh, okay, I might count that as a contact. There's a little bit of a back and forth here type of a thing. But that's kind of something to consider. But I got to be able to get through my opening pitch. But again, everybody else is different. Should I leave a voicemail? What's your typical voicemail? It just depends on what the call is. So let's say I'm calling a just listed, right? And they don't answer. I'm always going to got to be high energy. Hey, it's Robert, Century 21. Now, keep in mind, real quick, on voicemail etiquette, right? I got a short and sweet. So I'm probably going to go Robert Hertel, Century 21. I'm probably not going to go Robert Hertel, Century 21 Masters. Like, I'm going to try to shorten it up, right? So I'm going to go, hey, it's Robert Hertel, Century 21 Masters. I just listed a house down the street from yours. I'm sure you saw my sign. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's listed for $850,000. I'm calling the neighbors to see if you know someone that would like to move into the area. Give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. Right? Just boom, right? Something like that. Just something short, high energy, impactful, whatever the case may be, something like that. If it's an expired, then it might be, then if it's expired, hey, this is Robert, Century 21. Look, I know that you've been called by a lot of agents about your expired property. I have a 21-point action plan that's going to help you get your home sold. It's different than everyone else's. Give me a call. I'd love to meet with you for 15 minutes, right? I've got to give them some value, right? What's different? Give me one little bit difference, right? So I mentioned my 21-point action plan or whatever number I said. If you've sold and expired in the area, that would be my pitch on the line. So something high energy, short, boom, right to them. Okay. All right. Other questions that I can help out with?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, are we able to advertise or let, when prospecting, someone know, hey, we work on referrals and we do offer a finder's fee, or what are the rules with that?
Yeah, you can do that. It's up to, it has to be less than $500.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Unless they're a licensed real estate agent. If they're a licensed real estate agent with an active real estate license, then they can set up a referral fee. But if they're not an active real estate agent, then you can go up to $500. And then just pray to God they're not a mortgage lender, because then that could be seen as a kickback, which is a no bueno situation. But I mean, if you don't know they're a mortgage lender, then you're fine. But if you know they're a mortgage lender, do not offer them anything. Yep. But yeah, up to $500. You can do things like that. Good stuff. All right, good. All right, any other questions?
I got a question, Robert.
Go ahead.
For door knocking, on the number one door knocking script, it says Century 21 recently sold a home in your neighborhood, and I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself. How about, what if they just pop out? Oh, really? Where did they sell the home at? And I don't got that information. Would I just be able to skip?
Don't ever use that script unless you have the information.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Can I just
Yeah.
start with the door knocking? I was just curious.
I would, if there's not a property in the area that you're calling about or you're door knocking about listing it for sale, I would just simply give them a market update. So the script I would use right now is, hey, my name is Robert Hertel. I'm with Century 21 Masters. I'm a local real estate agent. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Hey, I'm reaching out because I'm just letting some neighbors here know some important information about their home values. Do you have a minute? Sure. Well, I don't know if you know this, but compared to this time last year, prices are up 1.2%, despite the fact that everyone thinks prices are falling. And so I'm curious, who do you know that might be thinking about selling their house to take advantage of this great market?
Got it. Market update. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would do something like that, or I would do something, I'm just letting everybody know. That despite, all the negative stuff going on about the real estate market, that in our area here of Arcadia, there were 54 homes that closed last month and with an average sales price of $2.2 million. Did you know that? I had no idea. Yeah, no. So there's still a lot of activity going on. So who do you know that's been thinking about buying or selling that maybe I can talk to give this information to? So I would just give a market update script, something along those lines. And then if they know someone, great. And if they don't know someone, then you're going to add them to your database, and you're going to say, okay, great. Hey, well, look, before I let you go, one of the things I do for a lot of people in your area is just keep them updated of what's going on in the market, even if they're not interested in buying or selling. Would you like me to do the same thing for you? And they say, yeah, sure. Now I already know where they live, so I need to get their phone number, right? So what I'm going to do is look down on my note sheet and start saying the area code of the area that I'm in. So let's say that I have a 909 cell phone number. I'm originally from Rancho Cucamonga. So let's say I'm door knocking Rancho Cucamonga, and I say, one of the things I do for other blah, 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 I go through that script, and they say, yeah, sure. And I'm going to look down and go, okay, so your number again is 909, and then let them finish, because they might go, oh, actually, I moved here from Riverside. It's 951. Oh, sorry about that. 951, right? And then they're going to give you the number. Right. So it's something like that. Or you're going to go 909 and they're going to go 2103344. Oh, okay, great. And the email address, is it a Yahoo or a Gmail account? Right. Before I even get the body of the email, I'm going to ask them if is it Yahoo or Gmail, or is it something else? Oh, it's Gmail. Oh, okay, Gmail. And what's the rest of it? Robert Hertel 1204. Right. So just like little tricks. People think I don't teach NLP training, but I do it all the time. It's funny. little tricks to do things like that, but I want to get them in my database.
Thank you.
That
You're
works
welcome.
so good, Robert. So good that you shared that.
Every so often. All right. Other questions I can help out with. These are great questions, by the way.
So I have another one. I
Go
went to
ahead.
knocking on Friday, did that right, got the name, number, email. He was in the market to sell or buy. However, I said, well, I can update you once this home sells, right? I was doing it for an open house I had. When you update them, when the home sells, do you just call, text, send them anything, just letting them know, hey, this is what it sold for?
I'm not texting. I want verbal.
So call.
I always want verbal. I would try to call first, and if they don't answer, I would go to the door.
Well,
All right. I want verbal. Verbal is going to get me farther than anything else. And I want to try to get them the information before they find it out themselves or from somebody else. So I'm going to call them first. That's my fastest way to get it to them. But if they don't answer, then I'm going to go to their door, and then I'm going to hit all the other doors in the area too, letting them know about the recent sale. Because I want to capture that, let them know that I'm on top of it.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. But also if you can tie in something powerful about it. So like if you knew there was multiple offers on the property, right? Maybe because you submitted an offer or because the agent had mentioned to you, well, we already have multiple offers on it, something like that, then I would include that. So I would say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's Mariana from Century 21. How you doing? Hey, I told you I was going to update you on that property at 123 Main Street. Well, check this out. It ended up selling, right? It sold at list price, $820,000. We had multiple offers on the property. That means there are multiple buyers who did not get their offer accepted that are circling this area right now looking for a house to buy. So I'm curious, who do you know that might be thinking about selling their house that wants to capture the buyers looking right now? Yep, that's how I would word it. You could also do that, by the way, doing post open house door knocking. So if you do an open house and count the number of people, don't count the groups, right? Because people go, oh, I only had 5 groups. And I'm like, how many people? Well, there was 15 people. Let's use that. Okay. And you go door knock the neighborhood or phone, whatever you want to do. And you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, I just wanted to let you know, I just finished the open house down the street at 123 Main Street. Look, in the 2 hours, because we only should be doing 2-hour open houses, in the 2 hours that I hosted that open house, we had 15 potential buyers come through this property. That's how aggressive people are looking in this area right here. So I'm curious, who do you know that's thinking about selling their house that wants to get 15 buyers to come see their property?
Love that.
So yeah, I would use post open house door knocking too to promote how successful my open house was. If they say text me, should I go to their door instead? No, if they specifically say to text you, text them. But if they don't specifically say to text them or email them, I'm trying verbal first. Yeah. But yeah, if they say text me or any other, whatever their preferred communication method is, if they openly say that, then yes, do that. Good stuff. Any other questions?
Robert, why only 2-hour open houses?
Because to save your time, one, to save time. Okay. So you're freeing yourself up for more time. Secondly, it creates more excitement at the open houses. So let me give you an example. Anyone who's looking to buy a house and they're going to see open houses, say on a Saturday, okay, they've identified the houses they're going to see and they're going to make sure they see those houses. So whether you will have a 2-hour open house or a 4-hour open house, they're going to get to it. So let's say you're doing a 2-hour open house from 12 to 2, but those buyers are going to go, okay, well, look, this one's only open from 12 to 2, so let's go see this one first. Right? They're going to see it. It's not that they're not going to see it. They're just going to schedule it differently than everywhere else. So you're still going to get the buyers to come see it. And when they come see it, they're probably going to be other people at the open house as well. So you do a 4-hour open house, I might come in and there might not be anybody there. And then throughout the 4 hours, maybe I got 5 or 6 groups to come in, but they all came separately. So the feeling was that, oh, I'm the only person interested in this house, which means that I'm thinking, A, is something wrong with this house? Or B, if I'm interested, I'm going to lowball it because I'm the only shopper. But if I go to an open house and there's 1, 2, or 3, however many other groups there, I'm now thinking, whoa, this house must be the house, right? So everyone's interested in this house. And boy, if we're going to buy this house, we're going to have to come up. Like we're going to have to give a good offer. It doesn't have to maybe be above list price, but we got to come up with a good offer. So I'm creating more excitement for my listing as opposed to 4-hour open house where maybe there's only 1 or 2 people coming through at a time. We used to do 1-hour open houses, and then that, and we still have some agents that only do 1-hour open houses, but most will do 2 now. But yeah, you're not going to lose you won't lose buyers. They'll get there, but you'll just create more excitement and then you're done. 2 hours, done. So you could even do 2 open houses a day. You could do I'm just using arbitrary numbers, but you could do an open house from 11 to 1, close up shop, go drive over and do an open house from 2 to 4.
So Robert, just a quick question. It's looping.
Yeah.
So when you do the open houses, because I try to limit it, you're right, to 2 hours. But what I do is that I look around the area to see who else is doing open houses and the same time that I do. And that's what I put it at. Is that okay?
Yeah, you want to be at the same time that the other open houses are, but you could still. So let's say that the open house window in the area is from 11 to 3, for example. You notice that all the open houses from 11 to 3. I want my open house to be somewhere in that time frame, but it can still be 2 hours. So instead of 11 to 3, I might do 11 to 1 or 1 to 3 or something like that. I don't want to be outside the open house hours because I want to just be fair. And while everyone's driving around, they can come see my place. But yeah, I would still condense it to 2 hours. Yeah. Unless you're trying to do a twilight open house, like you have a really luxury type property and you're doing a twilight open house type of a thing, that's different. But other than that, yeah, I would try to be in the same time frame that all the other open houses are at, just 2 hours instead of 4.
All right, thanks.
Yep, good question. Is it better to pick a specific city or county to prospect? Is it better to work multiple cities and multiple counties? I would definitely not work multiple counties unless I lived on the border, right? If I lived in Huntington Beach and I wanted to do a little bit in Seal Beach, Long Beach area, maybe that's different. But other than that, I mean, there's plenty of people to contact in all the counties we live in. So I would focus on that. And then different cities, yeah, you could, but I wouldn't go too far. I mean, if you did a 15-mile radius of your house, there's probably a couple thousand homes if you include condos and things like that. It's going to take you all year to get through that list. So if it's even whether if you're door knocking, it's going to take you, you're never going to get through it. But if you're calling, it's still going to take you a long time to get through that list. So, why expand out unless you live in an area where nobody sells their house? I think Fountain Valley. I don't know if it's still like that, but Fountain Valley used to be people would sell once every I honestly think it was every 28 years. I'm not even exaggerating that. I think Fountain Valley, it's 1 point years ago. I don't know if it's still like that. So it's okay, if you live in Fountain Valley, yeah, you might have to expand out a little bit because nobody was selling. But yeah, I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, I mean, just think about this, right? Think about this. Here's an exercise that I used to do with real estate agents. I don't promote it very much because everyone gets mad at me, but I'll just tell you about it. Is go to the MLS, go to the last, I don't know, 90 days, 180 days, whatever you want to do, and do a and ask yourself this question: how far would I be willing to go for a deal? Would I go 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, right? Let's say it's 15 miles. And you do a 15-mile radius of where you live, and find out how many closings happened in a 15-mile radius of your area in the last 90 days, 100 days, whatever time frame you do, year to date. And the number is going to come up with 1,000 or whatever the number may be. And then remember, there's two sides to every transaction, so you double that number. So now there's 2,000 deals, and then you have to think to yourself, well, gosh, I said I'd be willing to travel 15 miles. In the last 180 days, there's been 2,000 sides closed in that 15-mile radius. I mean, how far do I really need to travel to find some business? So I think if you really, Neil used to always say, get bigger by getting smaller. I think if you really just focused that, very few of you probably live in an area where you need to really expand any farther. Okay. So that would be my thought process on that. Just master your area. I mean, it's the area you know best because you live there. And plus, why sit in traffic and drive further if there's business next door? That's me. All right, good stuff. All right. Wow. You know what? You all are phenomenal. That's 1:32. I was supposed to be on a meeting at 1:30. All right. Great job, everybody. Thank you very much. If you have more questions, don't stop here. Email them to me, text them to me, call me, whatever the case may be. I love this stuff. I'll be done with this meeting at 2:00. So after 2:00, I could do more stuff. So just send me whatever questions you have. I love doing these things. This is my favorite stuff to do, is these types of things. All right, everybody, keep up the good work. Go get them. And whoever has our 1:30 open mic, floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great stuff. Wow, great questions today.
Yeah, Robert.
1:30 open mic.
Okay, that's me. All right. Yeah. You don't get on there. Hello, this is Donna with Century 21. I have a new listing over on Verdugo Way. It's a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and it's listed at $925. And I was just wondering, who do you know that might want to move into the area? Pardon? Hello, can you hear me? It's Donna with Century 21. How you doing? Century 21, I'm a realtor. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. You too. Thank you.
How you doing? Oh, good question. Um, I ordered a car, a Tesla M3, and what do we do once we order it with that? We just
Hello, how you doing? This is Donna with Century 21. I have a new listing over on Verdugo Way. It's a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and it's listed at $925.
Yes, see,
And I was just wondering, who do you know would like to move into the area?
Putting all the information. But
It's a house over on Verdugo Way,
78.
a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath. Do you know anybody looking to move into the area? How about you guys? Have you thought about making a move?
Walters person. Oh, Team Fajardo?
Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Team Fajardo Real Estate. Yes. So now that's what we need to wait just for the big number. Okay, and then we'll, once they find the car, they will be able to do the big number, and now they will alert me to get the insurance and anything else. Beautiful. One more thing. Yeah, how would I be able to get some type of documentation where it shows things about the loan approval, or how do we get that? The said file. Oh, nice. Beautiful.
Hello, this is Donna with Century 21. I was just calling to let you know about a new listing over on Verdugo Way. It's a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath for $925. I was just wondering, who do you know that would like to move into this area? Hello, this is Donna with Century 21. And I have a new listing over on Verdugo Way. It's a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and it's listed at $925. And I was just wondering, who do you know that would like to move into the area?
Y es por el que antes mandó, le mandó al lender de esto y yo le había mandado un texto a la gente dice, no, ya te lo mandaron, eso fue mucho antes después. Y él dijo, no, 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 no nos ha llegado. Can you go ahead and forward that email to the agent? Even though this is an underwritten that was done in August 5th, pero ponle ahí, de esta manera, cualquier cosa, mira que se lo manda a la gente, que se llama José. Ya dile, no, no, antes, él me mandó un mensaje que me dice, estamos esperando eso, pero como ya se lo habíamos mandado, yo le mandé, sí, oh, ya se lo mandamos. Y él dijo, "Oh, no lo hemos recibido." Y eso fue temprano, un par de horas atrás. Ya, él se llama José Castellano, a José Castellanos, Real Estate a Gmail. Ahorita te mando su información para que la tengas ahí. Ahorita te la estoy mandando, a ver si sabes. Set. Ese es el agente. Ya, manera de decir, no te olvides del otro también para que Marie Dorsey también diga. Ahora, y si puedes mandarle un email de todo, hey, you guys have any questions, everything okay, guys have any questions, anything that you want, closing, ahí se lo mandaron ahí en directo, no se sabe cómo qué pasó, porque a nosotros nos ha llegado el closing de ellos, entonces, pregunta a ver si se lo mandaron ahí directo, cualquier cosa, tenemos que tener una copia de nosotros eso para el file. Ok, anota.
Hi, this is Donna with Century 21. I have a new listing over on Verdugo Way. It's a 5 bedroom, 3.5 bath, and it's listed at 925. And I was just wondering, who do you know that would like to move into the upland area? No? Okay, who's up next?